Let's teach you how to ride a motorcycle. What's up, guys? Welcome back. I'm going to try to teach you guys as quickly and as simply as I can the controls of a motorcycle, so when you buy your first one, or if you already did, you can go out and ride it without a whole lot of confusion. So all these things take a lot of practice. I highly recommend taking like an MSF course, some type of motorcycle safety course to get your license. I am not an instructor. I'm not certified in this. I'm just going to give you guys some tips, tricks, and how I learned to ride a motorcycle. So let's hop on. So before I start it up, there are 4 main controls to your motorcycle. There's more than 4, but both hands and both feet are going to be controlling different things of the bike, different controls of the bike. To get started, your left hand is going to control the clutch. The clutch disengages and engages the engine of the motorcycle. If you want to cut power to the engine, you're going to engage the clutch by pulling it in to the handlebar with your left hand. Again, the clutch engages and disengages power from the engine of the motorcycle. And on the other side, your right hand controls 2 different things. One, the lever on this side is the front brake of the bike. So this controls the brake on the front wheel of the motorcycle. This is going to apply 70% of your braking power and is going to be the main stopping force of a motorcycle. Along with the brake on your right hand, it also controls the speed of the engine with the throttle. As I twist the throttle back, the engine, the RPMs are going to rev up higher. And we'll get into how that and the clutch go together here in a little bit. Moving down on the right side, my right foot is going to be controlling the rear brake. So my foot is going to rest on the foot peg, and it's going to hover over the top of the rear brake, and I'm going to use the rear brake and the front brake in conjunction with each other to get maximum stopping power. And onto the left foot, your left foot is going to control your kickstand, obviously, and the shift lever. So try to think about how you drive your car. You step on the gas, assuming you have an automatic car, you step on the gas, the car starts to go, the RPMs raise up, and then as you reach a certain level of RPMs, it's going to shift. The car's going to shift into second gear, which lowers the RPMs so you can start to accelerate again, and then it's going to lower the RPMs, you're going to shift into third, and it does that all automatically. On a motorcycle, it's manual. You have to do it by yourself. So the shift knob is going to work in conjunction with your clutch. To shift on a motorcycle, first gear is down, second gear is up, third gear is up, and so on from there. Everything else is up. So the only thing that's really confusing is if you're in neutral, you're going to shift down with your foot to go into first gear. And from there, you're going to shift up into second once you have reached an appropriate speed to get into second gear. So that's the confusing part. Neutral is between first and second gear. It sits right in the middle. So you're like, well, what if I shift from first to second and it goes to neutral? It won't. Neutral is a half step between first and second gear. I'll show you here on the screen. It's a little tiny click. It's a half step between each other. If you're in first gear and you want to go to second, just shift like you want to go to second gear. The bike will automatically go to second gear. Shift with the intention of going to second. You will never have to worry about accidentally going into neutral. So now that we know about where all the different controls are, it's time to learn how these controls work together with each other. So your clutch lever is going to be used alongside your shifting knob to shift down to first, up to second, up to third, etc., as well as in unison with your throttle. So if you're at a stop and you want to start taking off, you're going to slowly apply your throttle at the same time as you're slowly releasing on the clutch lever. I'll show you guys here in a second. Your front brake, like I said, applies 70% of your stopping power. Your rear brake is 30%. But you want to use the both in unison to get maximum stopping power. But just realize that your front brake is going to be the most of your power. And just like I said, you want slow, smooth, gradual motions. You want to squeeze the front brake. You can squeeze it hard, but you want to start slowly and squeeze it in more till you can't squeeze it anymore, till you're stopped. So let's start the bike up, and I'll go over a few more things. To start, to start the bike, I'm going to press and hold the ignition switch until the bike is running. Super easy, just like a 2-3 second hold, the bike will turn over, and now we are idling. We are in neutral, so we can move forward and back without touching any of the controls with your hands. The bike is in neutral. Another way that you can put the bike in neutral is by engaging the clutch. So right now the bike is in neutral, the clutch is in. So that's like a double positive that there is no power going to the engine. So if you want to cut power from the engine, all you have to do is pull the clutch in, engage the clutch, and it completely cuts power from the bike. And I'll show you guys how that works. I'm going to shift into first by pressing down on the shift knob. The bike is now in first gear. If I'm to let out on the clutch ever so slightly, the bike is going to start to want to roll. If I pull the clutch in, it's going to come to a stop because it disengages the engine. Therefore, it doesn't allow any power to the bike. So I'm going to back it up here again. I'm going to slowly let out on the clutch. And I'm going to pull it back in, and that disengages power. If I was to let the clutch out all the way, that's going to kill the bike. And to make that not happen, we have to apply a certain amount of throttle along with letting out the clutch. So if we want to take off from a stop, I'm going to start the bike. I'm going to apply throttle and slowly release on the clutch. As the bike takes off, I can release my feet from the ground, put them on the foot pegs, and we are rolling. To come to a stop, all I have to do, roll off the throttle. I'm going to pull in the clutch to disengage the engine and slowly come to a stop by using your front and rear brake. I am pulling in with my right hand to stop, as well as pushing on the rear brake with my right foot to come to a stop. So if we want to take off from a stop again, the clutch is engaged, it's pulled into the handlebar. I'm going to slowly apply some throttle and slowly release the clutch at the same time. And the bike is moving, the clutch is now disengaged. The bike has full power going to the engine. If I'm to roll on the throttle, I'm going to start gaining speed. If I want to start to slow down, I'm going to roll off the throttle, disengage the engine by pulling in the clutch, and get on my brakes. Again, I am using the front brake with my right hand and the rear brake with my right foot at the same time. Okay, so as you guys start to get more familiar with the relationship between the throttle, the clutch, your shifter, and your brakes, they all work together. It takes a lot of practice to get used to how they all work together, and every bike is going to feel a little bit different. So I highly encourage you guys, spend some time practicing in a parking lot. It's critical to learning how to ride a bike, and you want these things to be muscle memory. You don't want to be thinking about this stuff while you're riding. If you need to slow down, you just do it. You don't have to think about, oh, this hand does this foot does this, that was the wrong foot, I should have done the right foot. It's very important that you guys know this by heart. You don't have to stop and think about it while you're riding. So from here, everything that we just did is going to be repeated to shift into second, third, fourth, fifth gear, and so on. All you have to do is engage the clutch and then shift up with your foot to go into second gear. I'll show you guys how this works. So we're going to start from a complete stop. I'm going to roll on the throttle, let out on the clutch. That engages the engine. The engine is now fully engaged. I have enough speed. I'm going to pull in the clutch, shift up to second, and roll back on the throttle. Super easy. So as I keep going in second gear, and if I want to come to a stop, I'm going to roll off the throttle, pull in the clutch, and get on the brakes. And if you guys noticed, I shifted down back into first gear because now I'm stopped, but I can also take off right away without even thinking about it. So now I'm in first gear again. I'm going to make this turn, get some speed, and I'm going to shift into second gear. Roll off the throttle, pull in the clutch, get on the brakes, and shift down back into first gear. Super easy. So I'll do this one more time for you guys. We're going to take off from here, first gear, let out on the clutch. The engine is now fully engaged. We're going to make a turn, get some speed, second gear, come to a stop. Pull the clutch in, back into first. Alright guys, well that is the simplest way that I can describe how to ride a motorcycle. I'm going to go through it here one more time and try to do like a play-by-play. And if you guys have any questions, drop a comment down below. I'll be happy to try to help you guys out in any way that I can. But for now, hopefully this does it for you guys. So to start, I am going to roll on the throttle, let out on the clutch. I'm in first gear. Super easy. To shift to second, I'm going to roll off the throttle, pull in the clutch, shift up, and as I roll back on the throttle, I am letting out on the clutch. Now the engine has full power again. I'm going to make the turn, get up some speed, and I'm going to make a turn up here, so I'm going to get on the brakes, pull in the clutch to first gear, get back on the throttle, and let the clutch all the way out. The engine is fully engaged. Make the turn, get some speed, roll off the throttle, shift up to second, roll back on the throttle. And I'm going to shift down again to make the turn. Go through the turn, roll off the throttle, shift to second, roll back on the throttle, clutch is out, and I'm going to come to a stop, pull the clutch in, shift down in first gear. That's it guys, it's super easy. Practice this stuff over and over and over and over, 10,000 times over again. It makes a huge difference on how you ride. It's just, this stuff needs to be second nature. It's very important. But that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you for watching. I hope this helped. Please subscribe to the channel. Support me any way you can. I would really appreciate it. And until the next video, peace out.